people are starting to design microdrones, and they have a variety of uses, from sensing the environment to maybe helping with pollination in very specific ways, to maybe acting as an insecticide or herbicide that kills plants by nibbling on them, or bugs, without actually using pesticides and herbicides that are more harmful. Um, you could even argue fungus. You could use them you could use them for inspecting how in buildings that are on fire or natural disasters and all these other things. But a big problem I see with this technology, and I think it's something that people do not talk about at all, is that what happens when a strong gust of wind comes? Well, then it's totally off track. And so, first of all, we need to design it to be maybe able to handle these gusts of wind better. And we can do that by making it more stable, by figuring out ways that wind could less impact it. Like one example is maybe ones that could change how have a flapping mode where it's moving more air, and it's using it to also direct itself. When a strong gust of wind comes, it faces the air in such a way that the gust of wind more just blows over it and moves it less. And you could figure out ways that the gust of wind could just go into rotational energy or be captured less by it in the various stages, and it stops moving. Another way of doing it, besides the idea of pointing towards it so it's less impacted, is maybe it needs to grip onto something and just let the gust of wind pass. Now, none of these devices here I've seen have a strong gripper, and a lot of insects and bugs have strong grippers with their legs, surprisingly. But how would you design one? Well, you can design people have built safe memory to use an active and artificial muscles and stuff that you put electricity and they change shape. And those can apply a lot of pressure for the size, but you still need something a little sticky at the end of a suction cup. And maybe like gecko feet could do it, which have used something called a van der Waals force to make themselves very sticky. And I don't see the best picture here, but basically they have lots of tiny ridges on their feet, that each of them cause a high contact with the surface and also cause static charge, like static electricity, that binds them very strong surface. So maybe you could have one of those things, and we have like gecko tape, and you can bond a little bit of gecko tape on your hand can hold your whole weight of an average person. And with a small device with a high surface area, this will be even more compared to the mass of the object. And you could have it that it's tucked away and unfolds to really give a good grip on a variety of surfaces. Then you have to have the electronics to figure out where to land and when to land, and what's a good surface to land on. You could try to land on a surface that partially blocks out the wind to further help reduce it being blown away. Then you have to predict the wind and everything, and that's harder than you think, because we're talking not about big, massive average winds over hours. We're talking about just a gust of wind could be detrimental. Some things you could do is make it more cautious in certain places than other places. And by that I mean, like, if it's doing pollination in the middle field and the field is hundreds of feet, if it gets blown a little bit away, it's not a big deal. If it's at the edge, it could get lost. So you make it be not as let itself get blown around much more in the middle and less outside. You can even use the blowing around of the wind to help move it and save energy of the device. And that will be a complicated thing, because you don't know how the wind's going to exactly be. But you could have a stage where it's mostly just directing itself with the wind, and when it needs to complete its task, it goes over to less wind power and more alternative forms of power for moving. Another idea is that I just got was that all these little microdrones could hold hook up to make one bigger drone that could better survive the wind with its aerodynamics and the power it could generate. A final idea, I think, for what I'm talking about right here would be to have a way to beam up more powerful lasers or something, and that extra power could stop it from moving in crazy directions by making it absurdly powerful for its size. Well, thank you very much for listening. Please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers in a year and 4,000 watch hours, which is really hard, but with your help, I think I can do it. Also, if any of these for future videos, comments, or suggestions, please leave in the comments section below. Thank you very much. Goodbye.